The reflection process is more unknown to most of the people I've worked with than I thought. I didn't realize that reflecting, based on President Nilsson's introduction, is not taught, it's not practiced, and those who have participated in some kind of a reflection process have often had a very negative experience with it. Let me give you an example. When I was in sports, in high school football, our high school football coach, he lacked some skills, and one of the things he would do that I classify as wrong is when we did film review, he liked to make fun of those of us who made mistakes in front of the rest of the team. He thought that was a great way to motivate us. And so he would replay the same scene over and over again and laugh and encourage laughter when any of us made mistakes. That doesn't make me want to reflect a whole lot in the future. Some of you in religious situations, when you sit down with your bishop and you do some kind of interview and reflect on your life, the main thing they focus on is your sins and what you've done wrong, and there's an uncomfortable experience there. Talking to spouses, talking to parents, some parents are specialists in pointing out what you do wrong, and they're not really good at pointing out what you do right. Even some of our clinicians in our recent clinician training meeting, I had to teach master's degree therapists how to reflect correctly. Learning how to reflect is actually a skill that requires some effort. So here's how it's done. You pull the film up and you remember the goal. The goal is to harvest information that includes what I got right and what needs improvement. Okay, what I got right and what needs to be attended to. The part that most people skip is what they got right. Do not review your recent efforts of discovering, planning, and acting without looking for what you did right, and write it down. Do not start looking at the other side until you start with the question, what technique did the enemy use to disrupt me? What technique did he use to get in the way? I understand that many of you are responsible personality types. You go, I want to think about what I did wrong, I want to think about my negative self-talk, I want to think about all these things. But when you planned, didn't you think a lot of that through? And you tried to put all these things together, and something else was disruptive? When you play football, it's hardly ever you that causes you to not get a touchdown. The other team is really trying hard with strategy, strength, and speed to disrupt you. The same is true in psychology. So the main thing we're looking for when we're reflecting about what didn't go right is, in what way did Satan disrupt the process? We may not know for sure if he encouraged Bob to crash into your car on your way to the temple. Okay, it doesn't really matter. What we're looking for is just anything that's a disruption and how we can make a plan accordingly. The mood you should be in after a reflection session is hope and ferocity. Like, I feel like we can do it better this time. I feel like we can really attack this. For those of you who are soccer players, anyone who's an athlete who's ever been schooled, embarrassed by the opponent, lose a game that you were supposed to win, after you do film review, you should not be walking out of there sulking going, man, we ruined everything. The main feelings you should have after film review is hope and ferocity, or investment. Let's do this, we got this. Because part of what's going to happen next, because discover work is really hard. We need to think of new workouts we can do. We need to think of new ways to train ourselves to do our footwork. And everyone's favorite thing, conditioning. Put on a discover list and hope it falls off the table so the coach doesn't see it. So then we revise the discover list, we pull a new set of things into the plan, we create the adjustments to the acting phase, just like a football team, a sports team. We're going to change the workout plan a little bit so that when we're playing, we're going to exercise everything we have, and then we're going to watch film and reflect upon it again. I met with a mother today of a 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy. When I suggested that her son should do this process every day, one of her main concerns was he can't maintain consistency. Most of us do not like to do the same thing every day for 14 days. But if the coach says, after reviewing the film and studying the state champions or the national champions from last year and finding some things for that, we're going to add these following things to our plan. But then we act upon it, we use the new skills, etc., etc. To successfully apply yourself to passion projects, you're going to have to go through the cycle over and over and over again. And the expectation of you for graduation from Sons of Helaman specifically is all you have to do is visit one of these 4 squares and do something. It doesn't have to be big. It can be this big, it can be really big, and then just share it with people. your team, tell your mom, tell your brother, tell everyone else. I made a plan today. The plan looks like this. Here's how I planned. Send. The end. Okay, you don't have to show them everything you did, just tell them you did it. So that is what is expected. Just work on it. And if you review again President Nilsson's introduction of this, nowhere in there does he say you need to complete them. Don't get caught up in completing passion projects. Learning how to enjoy discovering, enjoy planning, enjoy acting, enjoy reflecting, and then just watch what happens. Because sometimes it produces glorious things and sometimes it's a dead end. But the participation in the 4 is what brings beautiful, powerful sensations inside of you. Let us know if you have any questions on how it all works.